Ladies and Habibi. Never mind.
Okay, hello, ladies and Habibis. This is Lloyd De Jongh, and I'm here with Usama Dakdok, and we were sorting out a small audio glitch. As you know, Allah works in mysterious ways. We're just
Yeah.
very happy that Usama's computer didn't explode, and you
I
never
saw
know.
smoke. Hey, I saw smoke, and then I saw behind the computer some camel moving around. I said, okay, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, it's one of these micro camel drones, and the first rule of electronics is keep the
Yes.
smoke inside of the components.
Ooh, I did not know that. I'm learning something new today, brother Lloyd.
Very important rule of electronics. If you let the smoke out of the components, then you're going to have problems with your device. So, hello everyone, and thanks for waiting the extra few minutes. And here we are. And today we're
Hello, brother Lloyd, and hello, all our wonderful people, those who are watching it right now, and those who will watch us even later. We forgive them for not being with us live, but hey, this is life. Can't help it.
yeah. Well, we're glad you guys are here, and I'm glad Usama is here. And yeah, so we're going to have a little chat about the Quran. And by the way, Osama, there are differences between the Bible and between the Quran in some stories, and it might be interesting to. Someone suggested doing a small comparison. So hang on, I made a little chart. I'm just busy working on it, but
Oh,
actually, let me just grab this quickly. Oh, what am I doing wrong? Okay, let me grab this. Let me grab that.
grab
There
it
we go.
soft, grab it tenderly, because when you grab it hard, it kind of fight back with you. You don't want to do that. You need to be nice to it.
Yeah, okay. Just so by the way, someone asked me about this. These are some differences.
Between the Bible
Um,
and the Quran.
yeah,
But
between
wait,
how the
wait, wait. You have
Bible,
a
I
problem
mean,
here. You
how
have
the Quran.
Bible details, and then you have Quran. There is no details in the Quran. Just remove the word details, please. Don't
Yeah,
insult my
but
intelligence.
notice angels do not doubt creation. Angels doubt creation. Adam names the animals. God teaches the names. Okay, the serpent tricks Eve, Satan tricks both. Two trees of knowledge and life, one tree of immortality. Uh, Eve tempts Adam. There's no direct forgiveness. There's no Eve temptation. Adam is forgiven. I mean, I just making a list of the differences, not in every verse or, every chapter, but I thought this might be interesting.
Absolutely, that would be awesome, man. I love that project. Wow.
Villainous says the Bible and the Quran are the same letter for letter, dot for dot. I'm really sorry to let you know, Villainous, but they're actually not the same. Um,
It's
it,
funny.
it,
As a joke. I like it. It make me laugh. I remember it
you
when I'm
know,
upset.
I mean, these are the same. It's the same God telling the same story to the same people, just getting the details wrong
Do you
because
want to? Hey, let me ask you a question, Lloyd. Do you want to add another column?
what column?
So you have Bible details, you have Quran, there's no details, and then Quran contradictions. That's when you see the same story. Moses, Allah repeated in the Quran, and he changed his mind and gave us different information. But
Oh
that will
well,
require that third column actually is going to be sometime 8 different columns. Why? Because Allah repeat the story 9, 10 times, and every time
times.
it's different information.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to. Someone asked me to do this if I'd have a look at it, and I thought it might be interesting.
Absolutely, I
So
love it. I
Cain and
love it.
Abel, named Cain and Abel, okay, but they are unnamed brothers.
Yep.
And then God speaks to Cain, and the accepted brother speaks. There's no crow. A crow buries. Um, uh, yeah, what's it? The crow, no crow, no lesson on killing, saving soul in the Torah, lesson on soul from the Mishnah. Yeah, it's like just very weird. I need to, I mean,
Wait,
expand
what
this.
is crow, brother? Can you tell me what is crow? CROW?
A bird.
No, but Allah said raven. I don't know. Is raven is crow and crow is raven?
I wonder, ravens and crows, maybe the same bird.
No, 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 no. Crow, cuckoo, cuckoo. You make a noise of crow, but raven is a raven. Did you
Yeah,
know that Adam, Cain, whoever is a bad boy, we don't know his name, carry his brother on his back for a whole year or maybe 100 years after he killed his brother. He carried him on his back for 100 years.
You know what? He was singing that song, He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother, the whole time.
MashaAllah,
Bill
mashallah.
Withers, he was a Bill Withers fan too.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Must be,
I mean,
must
like with
be.
Noah, a detailed flood. Here there's a focus on preaching. All sons saved, one son drowned. I mean, and this is like a new son. There's no doomed wife. Wife is doomed. Noah is drunk and naked. There's no drunkenness. Ark on Mount Ararat, Ark on Mount Judi.
Yeah, Majud. After the boat circled the Kaaba 40 days.
So how are these even the same? I mean, we can see it's obviously trying to tell the same story, but the differences make them different stories. So, I mean, isn't this like a great way to talk to Muslims? Or if someone else would be interested to pick this up, or tell you what, for the audience, I'll send you this. I'll put it up on my channel, whatever, as a post. And I mean, it needs to be cleaned up a bit, and I can add more details. I'll make a document. But that said, if someone would want to make videos on this and actually ask Muslims to explain where they get these details, how the details are changed, how they can prove those are the details. I mean, it's just would be an interesting thing, because then they keep saying it's, the Quran, the Bible, the same God. How come the same God is telling different stories? I
It's
mean,
amazing. Muslim, but listen, there's the different levels. In the early days, Muslim would say it's the same. When they have a little bit of the upper hand, no, the Bible is corrupted and the Quran is right. Same guy, same imam, same Muslim who speak that, oh, we believe in the same God, the same Bible. And the same guy say, oh, no, your book is corrupted. Our Quran is perfect.
So, but then, look, I'm sure there are questions you can ask that put that to rest, because Muslims have claimed that it was corrupted after a certain time. Like, for instance, Muslims were claiming it was corrupted before St. Paul, was corrupted after. In fact, then you've got major scholars saying it was corrupted like in the 7th or 8th century.
Yeah.
But we've got fragments of the Bible going back more than 2,000 years. You've got thousands of sample copies. So you can obviously then from there reconstruct. You've got so many quotes of the Bible by the 3rd century, over 1 million, maybe 2 million. You can reconstruct literally the entire Bible just from third-party quotes.
Let's add another very important angle to that. When we read the Quran, we see Allah said none. If you had told me the Bible was written wrong, I mean, Moses wrote a corrupted Torah, David wrote a corrupted Zabur, and Isa wrote a corrupted Injil, that'll be fine. But when you tell me they were good for some time, and Allah said none can change the word of Allah, how can you explain to me none can change the word of Allah? Well, it was changed around 300 years later. Oh, around 600 years later. Oh, last week. It would change last week. You cannot
that's such
change.
a contradiction. Either Allah's wrong, or Allah, I mean, is Allah wrong then? Because that's what they're saying. It's like such a crazy contradiction.
Actually, there's 3 options. Allah is wrong, or Allah is wrong, or Allah is wrong. In either way, it is Allah's wrong. Okay? That's the 3 options.
Yeah, I mean, if no one can change Allah's words, and this is from Allah, then how is this changed? Because then Allah was lying in the Quran, or Allah's wrong in the Quran.
It would be easy for me logically to believe that the Bible was written wrong. Moses wrote it wrong. Everybody wrote a page on the Quran. They were originally written wrong. But to tell me it was right and somehow it changed later, can't take it. I'm sorry. I am a little bit smarter than Allah, Jibreel, and Muhammad together. All right. How about we move on.org, man? We need to move on.org, brother. This is I'm so excited about. First of all, I apologize about 2 days ago. Circumstances was beyond my imagination. I cried the entire 2 hours. And my wife, why are you crying? I said, I'm supposed to be doing a show right now, and I can't with Brother Lloyd. And she comforted me, and she made me a cup of coffee while I was working, and now I'm fixing. So will you accept my apology, Brother Lloyd? Will you, please?
I'll accept a cup of coffee. That's about.
Hey, here it is. How do you want to get it? Sorry. We're far away.
I used to drink coffee over the internet. I'm not sure.
You never know. I mean, AI will come up with a solution for that in the future. MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
Yeah, there was this interesting study done not long ago because AI learns from the content that it reads, and if the majority content is woke, then the AI is going to be woke, and they have to
Absolutely.
work very hard to remove prevailing narratives and stupid ideas. The
Mm.
problem is they found out that the AIs are learning how to lie. So AIs are lying. They literally tested them. There's an interesting report I was watching, a discussion of this report. I mean, it's a legit report. AIs are learning to lie, and now you've got to work around that. And second, companies want engagement because they make money, so they're making the AI super friendly. The AI will tell you what you want to hear rather than the truth.
Exactly. You know why? Just a few weeks ago, me and my son were watching, we're doing some work on AI. So I asked AI to help me. I was working with an article and I asked AI to give me the answer for it. And obviously, AI thought I'm a Muslim guy. And boy, oh boy, it was so beautifully written as to a Muslim imam. And I said, wait a minute. I don't believe in that. That's not, I'm talking about from a Christian perspective. So we sent the material back to AI. Within 3 minutes, came back to me like I am super smart Christian man who tried to expose the lies of Muhammad. Same AI. I will show you this one and this one. If you talk to AI as a Muslim, you get a great article. I mean, I put all my thought, I put all my words, and I just said it there. And it came back to me is if I'm a Muslim. I'm not kidding. I said, whoa. I don't believe that garbage. So I can show you both sides of the coin for the same article. You ask AI if you are a Muslim imam, or do you talk like a Muslim imam, or if you talk like a Christian preacher.
Yeah.
Both sides of the story coming from AI. Unbelievable. I could not believe my ears.
Now, different AIs have different strengths and weaknesses, but I've learned how to get them. You have to tell them to utilize strict logic. They have to use strict, non-contradictory logic and work exclusively from that basis, because that sets a baseline. Otherwise, they delve in, they just deviate straight into relativism or standard narratives without thinking. So yeah, you've got to work with them very, very carefully. And so you've got to be extremely critical when using them and ask very good questions. I mean, I've seen people now that on X, they'll say, Grok, answer this. And Grok will often give the wrong answers because it's working from a different perspective. And you ask a bad question, it'll give you a bad answer. It's simple.
Man. All right, good. We are on the same page, and we're on the same where we start. The dreams of the prisoners and Joseph interaction or interruption. I cannot read, my eyes is not really good
So
here.
I'm just adjusting my mic and my camera.
Interpretation. Please adjust your mic. Interpretation. It is what's amazing about when you read the Quran, it is somebody knows the entire story and he is a little bit under the influence and he's writing the Quran. You follow me so far? Very good
Again,
point. When
sorry,
you
say
read
again.
the Quran, it is written by somebody who knows the entire story. Somebody heard the story of Joseph and he is a little bit under the influence. He's drinking too much or smoke too much of this bad stuff. And that's what you get when you read the Quran. MashaAllah. Go for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we can see, there are clearly differences between the Quran's retelling and the Bible's retelling, and one has to wonder the lack of detail and the differences. And I mean, at some point, these two have to be put to the test, and one has to see which one holds to history, which one holds a better narrative.
Amen. Exactly. I concur.
I need to finish that Calvin thing, and just for the
Let's do it
audience,
next week. I'm sorry, I apologize. It was super busy, but next week will be awesome. We'll look
yeah,
forward to it.
and also I've got a plan to do a couple of talks. One is the Council of Jerusalem, and the other is wine or grape juice in the Bible. For instance, does Christianity ban alcohol? This has come up a few times in the last week or so, and I decided to write a complete talk on it. And because a lot of people say there's no wine in the Bible, it's all grape juice, and Jesus banned alcohol, Christianity bans alcohol, and you're like, huh? So that's something I plan to do next week.
I can give you a quick answer here. Everything is lawful for me. Nothing in Christianity is not lawful. Not the word ban does not exist in the Bible. The problem is, what do you do with the other verses which shows that other extreme level? You mean I can drink wine? I don't have any problem not to drink wine. Some of my friends drink wine. I don't like drink wine. I don't like the taste. I can drink it, but to whom the redness of the eye, to whom the headache, is not for the kings, the Bible said. And do not drink the wine which bring looseness, the Bible talk about. Which means You can drink wine, but don't get drunk on wine. And so on with everything else. Nothing is forbidden in Christianity except if it is not will lead you to be where you present your master, your Lord, your Savior, Jesus Christ. We are ambassador of the King of Kings. We cannot be drunk. We cannot, you and I right now consult the
Yeah.
show. We have
Yeah,
already five.
the Bible only speaks out against drunkenness. It doesn't ban alcohol. In fact, it says to serve alcohol, to drink alcohol, but it says do not get drunk. I mean, I think that's pretty clear, but it's
That's the point. Timothy was sick, and Paul told him, a little wine will help you, will clear up the water, will
yeah.
purify the water, will heal your stomach. There's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with
but then
it.
people claim no, it's actually grape juice. So now you've got to deal with the fact that it was, yeah, it says wine, but it actually means it was grape juice. You're like, okay, so that's something I plan to deal with next week.
Awesome.
So yeah, so
Good.
guys, yes, I have been listening to that song. I have in the past listened to that a lot. Okay, so yeah, guys, yeah. By the way, this badge here, this was my original close protection operative badge, South Africa. The second one was my replacement close protection when I was a bodyguard. The third one is a police badge from the Finnish police. I got
Can you
this
make it a
from
little bit
one of
closer, brother? I'd love to see them a little bit closer if you don't mind. Please. I did not see. I did not know what you were doing earlier. A little bit up. Go up here. Yes, sir. Whoa.
so this was my bodyguard badge, original one.
Mm-hmm.
This one was my replacement. It's got my
Mm-hmm.
blood type, my name, my ID number on the back. Blood type's always useful if you get shot. And this one, he says says police. It's from Finland. It's from the Finnish police. I was out there a little while, and one of the bodyguards for the Finnish president gave me that.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome, man.
and
Thanks
of
for your
course,
service
that's my
to
wing de
your
Sar above there. You know,
Yep, 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 yep. Thanks for your service to your people.
and
Awesome.
then I've got yeah, and then you can see those guys. They're pretty cool.
Yep,
My
these are
little
short,
wizards.
short European people, short somebody. I don't know. The
Yeah, they're
stick
pretty
is,
cool.
yeah.
So that's okay.
Your
Well,
collection is getting bigger and bigger behind you, Lloyd. I remember when we started from that new office, you only have two items. And look at this, man. Someday you have the whole world behind your back.
I wish I had another space. Yeah. Okay. So let's dive in. So guys, so welcome everyone. Good to see you all. I hope that was an interesting intro. And yeah, so we are now going to talk about Joseph once more. And of course, there is a difference between the Bible's telling of Joseph and, of course, the Quran's telling of Joseph. One of the basic ones is, where did I put that? So with Joseph, of course, there's envy, there's naivete, there's romance, triumph, cleverness. Whereas in the Quran, he's free from charges, he's moral, and there's a divine focus. So it's a different story as well. So this is where we ended, the dreams of the prisoners and Joseph's interpretation. So we read in Quran 36, the preaching message and the interpretation of the verses, and we find errors. No way. Allah made a mistake.
No, no, no. It was an honest mistake. It's not like on purpose. It's, slip of a tongue. Okay.
Someone's asking, when's the next Q&A live? Tell you what, I can happily do so next week. Any reason you're asking? Yeah, so let's see Quran 12:36. And entered into the prison with him 2 young men. One of them said,
Stop here, brother. Do you know what the word fata mean? I put it in English, young men, but it's actually much less than teenagers. It is roughly 12, 13, 14 years old. Because after that, when you get to 17, 18, it's a youth age. 2 little boys. I can only imagine Joseph was a little boy and have 2 little boys with him in the prison. Now, why I make a big deal about that is a big mistake, because obviously Muhammad did not know who are these 2 men. 2 men. What was their job? What was their position? I hope I wrote about it in my book. If not, we'll get back to it and add a little bit more information. Go for it, brother. 2 young men.
I
2,
mean,
12,
little
13,
boys
early
in
teenagers.
prison, that's as Player Fane says, that's an innocent mistake.
Oh, I know.
I
But
mean, like
if you know
who?
what is, if you know biblically what was their jobs, you will never believe them to be anything less than 40 years, 30, 40 years old. Not 12, not 15, not 20, not 25, not even 30. I guarantee you, they're
Yeah,
going
I
to be
think
more than 30 years.
I think Villains has been listening to Usama too long, and he comes up with the first thing that I also thought about, sadly.
Oh well.
Bachabazi. Okay, so just to make YouTube stop persecuting my channel and giving me a hard time, I should really try to tone down, the things I say, because other channels do it and it works for them. So maybe I need to go very milk
You
toasty,
mean
very
you're gonna water down our message, man, to make YouTube like
no,
you?
but man, YouTube hammers my channel, and seriously,
I
seriously.
know, I know.
So
And it's gonna get worse. Soon you have to say the Shahada before and after the show, so YouTube can
no,
allow you to come there.
but no, I see it on the. It's one of those issues. Yeah, Momo and his obsession with little boys. So one of the little boys said, "Surely I saw myself pressing wine," and the other said, "Surely I saw myself carrying khubs." Okay, what is
Bread. That's
bread
another word, bread.
of
Yeah.
Ethiopian origin? I carried bread above my head. The birds eat from it. Inform us of its interpretation. Surely we see that you are the doers of the
Imagine
doers.
with me. Imagine with me. They just good morning. First time they saw Joseph, and they know that he can interpret a dream. And they told him a dream which cannot be interpreted because that's not the dream. As a matter of fact, if I am Joseph who heard that dream, I say, you guys need to cover your butt when you go sleep next time. You must have a naked butt. That's why you hallucinate in your dream. Because
Yeah,
that's
but
Egypt.
they could see he was one of the doers of good. Somehow his presence just
Doers of good
radiated.
can always interpret. See, my grandpa used to be a doers of good, but he could not interpret a jack of it. He know nothing about interpretation of dreams. Period. But that's okay. Go ahead.
I once spoke to someone. I met a guy. Said, I told him, remember some years ago I was broke. You gave me
Yeah.
money, and you never asked for it back. It was a lot of money that you gave me. Well, you know what? I just want to tell you, I'm broke again. Because I could see
Can I
that
have
person's one of
can I have your friend's telephone number so I can call him because I can use some money right now.
yeah, because I could see that person as one of the doers of good. So that's the kind of you need those kind of doers of good,
Yeah,
right?
if you know anybody, send me the address. Just kidding. We
Okay,
don't need.
so the
Okay.
Bible describes two young men in Genesis 40. After Joseph was put in prison, the king of Egypt was offended by his butler and baker. The king was angry, so he put them both in prison. Joseph was assigned to attend to them, and that's why Joseph served them for many days. Both had a dream the same night, and it was God's will for them to be in the same prison with Joseph. However, this is not the Quran story. From the account in the Bible, we can realize there was a relationship between Joseph and the two men, which suggests that they built a friendship. Yeah, it took time. The Quran uses the word fata, which means early teens. It is the age that comes before youth, but this is not clarified in the story in the Quran. How does the Bible describe the dreams, and how did Joseph know about their
But
dreams?
since we already left it and it's known, these are two men are the one who give Pharaoh the drink, the wine, and the other one who cooks the food for Pharaoh. Pharaohs, as you see throughout the history of Egypt, never allowed little children, teenagers, 20 years old, to serve the meal or to serve the wine because there is a great risk. There's a great risk for the pharaoh to be killed by poisons through the drink or through the food if he just have some younger men. So it's always known in the history of Egypt with the pharaohs that they have to trust these men. They have to be mature men, not to be influenced by somebody to poison the king. That's why I said in the Quran, Allah or Muhammad did not know who are these two young men and what their job was. They cannot be even 20. It have to be older people. The Quran is 100% dead wrong. That's a fact. Go ahead, brother.
Right. So obviously, that is how he knew about their dreams. So wait, sorry. Let me just see. To answer these questions, read the following verses in Genesis 40, which describe how Joseph went to the butler and baker in the morning, saw them in sorrow, and asked them why they were sad. That is how he learned about their dreams. He did not preach to them. And in the Quran's verses, we will see he simply asked them, don't interpretations belong to God? Then Joseph asked them to tell him their dreams. As is written in the preaching sermon of Joseph in the Quran, although Muhammad cut the introduction of the story of the dream as too short, he goes into a lengthy speech by Joseph, the preaching, before he gave the short interpretation. In verse 37, he said, "You will not be provided with food, but I will inform you of its interpretation before it will come to you. This is a part of that which my Lord has taught me. Surely I have left the religion of people who do not believe in Allah and in the hereafter. They are infidels." That's very useful information if you need your dream interpreted. That really
Yeah,
helps.
yeah, exactly. Especially when you don't have the dream to start with. But here's a fact: Muhammad wrote the story of Joseph a little bit later after he got tired of the Jewish people not to believe in him. Because I can show you from the Quran. The Quran clearly Allah taught that not only Joseph, but the 12 sons of Jacob, the Aspat, were prophets. So how can you tell me they're prophets? They're messenger of Allah. They receive their own books. They receive their own message from Allah. And here you tell me they're a bunch of infidels. Make up your mind, Muhammad. Were Joseph family, brothers, infidels, or were they messengers and prophets? It's not just believers. I'm talking about prophets, Lloyd. How in the world Allah can contradict himself that bad? Tell me they're prophets or messengers, and tell me they're a bunch of infidels. They don't believe in Allah. They don't believe in the hereafter. Are you kidding me? I never
You
heard of a.
can't be
Have you ever
limiting
heard
Allah
of?
like that, as if he is limited by things like logic or common sense.
But have you ever heard of a prophet or a messenger who does not believe in Allah and he does not believe in the hereafter, the day of
No,
judgment?
they're all Muslim prophets. That's the crazy part. So it makes, yeah, I mean, this
So that's why I said you need a third column or fourth column, depending how many contradiction about the same passage or the same story.
yeah, what's amazing? How Muslims will deny anything and everything, even if you show them things. They'll just deny. Like I did a talk on Sharia on a channel a couple of hours. I posted it on my community section, a link to the talk. It's on Sharia. Goes for a
Yeah.
couple of hours. I go into a lot of detail. I show the books, I explain them and all that. And I've got Muslims commenting, "You just made things up. You just lied." I'm like, no, these are. I mean, I showed them on the screen. I'm reading off the page on the screen. I'm showing where the book comes from, who wrote it, how it's authoritative,
I
and
think
I
that's
just
the
made
only
it up
ways
and
he can
lied.
answer. That's the only ways he can win the debate against you by saying, "Stop lying." I got so many messages where Muslims, Arabs, they know the Quran, they know what I'm talking about. They're not like unaware of these errors. They will write to me and say, "When are you going to stop lying about the Quran? When are you going to stop lying about Islam?" It's like, what lies? Can you share one with me? Anyway,
Someone once said to me something very smart not that long ago. He said, because the Muslims, he said, well, one Muslim, he caught a guy lying about Muhammad.
yeah.
And but anyway, but the guy basically admitted that he didn't lie about Muhammad. He
He lied
lied
from
for Muhammad.
That's how Muslims do it. If I lie for Muhammad, I make him look good, and that's how it works. MashaAllah.
Yeah. It's insanity.
Yeah.
So Muhammad did not give us information as to who these two young men were. Muslim scholars fabricated an answer as if they themselves were prophets as well. Ibn Kathir interpreted that one of these young men was the cupbearer, and his name was Bano.
Imagine, they know Ibn Kathir know more than Moses.
I need a
Ibn Kathir
moment.
knows the name of the guy, even though okay. How did he know his name was not Usama?
Because there's a very famous ad back in the day, dog food ad in South Africa that was like, "How can there be no Bino when he's Bino so loving to you?" It was kind of like a dog food ad.
That's where the song came from that Bino.
Bino,
Amazing.
yeah.
Listen to this. Ibn Kathir can know the name of these two young men. He knows the name of the ants which talked to Solomon. He knows the name of the hubu which talked to Solomon. He knows the name of they know more information than Allah himself. I guarantee you, if you ask Allah, Allah will say, "I do not know." Allah will say, "Ask Ibn Kathir, he'll tell you."
Cupbearer, Bino. Radio. The other young man was a baker, and his name was Muggles.
Muggles. Wow. Didn't you like Muggles? What's wrong with you? You don't like Muggles? He was Muggles because he's the guy who fixed the bread. Beggars always, and the bread makers in Egypt, they're all named Muggles.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weak hadith. It's lost in translation, taken out of context. Arabic is complex. It only can be understood in Arabic. It's just Muggles. Oh, Save me.
Hey, if I ever have a grandson, I'm gonna ask my son, please call him Muggles for me, please. Muggles. And people ask
Oh,
me why. And that will give us a chance to tell the story about this great scholar Ibn Kathir.
I mean, Beno, is this like a typical Egyptian,
No,
pharaonic
the
Egyptian
problem is
name?
these are not even Coptic names. That is what make it worse. Is they make up names. Zayd ibn Rahan. Can you imagine a pharaoh by the name Zayd ibn Rahan? An Arab Muslim name became a pharaoh in Egypt. Hello, make up a Coptic name, then your life will be a little bit tasty. I can accept it. Call him, Mina. Call him, Hatshepsut. Just give him Egyptian name, not some weird name. That's okay. Go ahead. It makes no difference.
This is just
Lie as much as you want, man. It's still a lie.
the king had accused them of some matters. Oh my gosh, I am accusing you of some matters. No, king, please don't accuse us of some
See,
matters.
here's the problem. They know the name of the guy, which we do not know from the Bible, but they do not know what is the matters. So why you give me a detail about the name if you don't give me? You might as well tell me, make up a story and finish it good, man. Go ahead.
When they saw Joseph in the prison, they liked him and his guidance. They liked his ways, his sayings, his speech, his deeds, his frequent worship of his Lord, and his good character. Oh, wow, that's deep.
That's how they know he can interpret their dreams, even if they did not have a dream to tell him to start with.
Ah, yes, man. Yeah, just shines off the page. Each one had his dream, and Muslim interpreters said that both saw their dreams in one night, as written in Ibn Kathir's book. So, how did you know all the above information?
Uh,
Nobody knows.
hey, he's a scholar, man. That's why we believe in them scholars. They know
Ibn
more than
Kathir
you.
continued.
Yeah.
Sorry. He seemed to quote the Bible exactly as written in Genesis. He explained the statement, "Surely we see that you are the doers of the good," to mean that Joseph had informed them that he knew how to interpret their dreams. He wrote quite a lot of info about the incident by using information from the Bible, claiming it came from this simple, singular verse, Quran 12:37. As we've seen, that verse gives us no information. Yeah. All we know is there were two young men, which does not make sense since the positions in Pharaoh's court required, I'm 12 years old. I'm going to be his butler.
I
Yeah, that
think
makes perfect.
maybe Pharaoh was 9 years old or 8 years old because he did not have logic to choose who give him a drink and who feed him, man. He must be a young
Butlers
Pharaoh.
are not born yesterday. Anyway, they fed and gave drink to the king.
Yeah, so I
It's
wrote
a
about it.
great
I thought
job with
you
great
were about it. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's a problem. As for how Joseph could give them interpretations of their dreams before they received their food, there are two different opinions by Ibn Kathir. First, Joseph meant whatever dream they received, so surely he would give them its interpretation before it came to pass, so it would be fulfilled as he had told them. Second, he meant he would tell them what food would come to them before it came to them and if it would be sweet or sour. Joseph said that it was because
Which
of
means, whoa, stop it for a minute. Which means Joseph is becoming Allah because only Allah knows the future. In Islam, Joseph could not do that. I mean, Isa, son of Mary, receives that from Allah, Quran chapter 19 and Quran chapter 3, when Allah told us in the Quran that Jesus, or Isa, son of Mary, he has the power to inform them about the future. Here is again, Joseph become Isa, become Allah. That's a problem, Lloyd. There's no way you can tell me that's an accurate interpretation. Alam al-Ghuyub, one of the true attributes of Allah. Allah in the Quran, in the Arabic, have 99 names. One of them is Alam al-Ghuyub, which is the knower of the unseen. Here is Joseph become the knower of the unseen. He can tell them what kind of food they're going to eat.
just go. But Allah gave him the authority to make miracles. It's because they're like, okay, where does Allah say that in the Quran? Yesterday I was chatting on YouTube with a guy that was saying that he's a Quran only guy. All these Muslims become Quran only once you know too much about the Quran and they get embarrassed. And suddenly they become Quran only because they want to dismiss the hadiths, right? And I said, okay, show me when the Quran is Muhammad's wives named. It's Quran. He says, no, that comes from this, and we can use these traditions because these traditions are good and it's authoritative. And
Yeah.
You're like, it's not in the Quran. So how is these traditions good? And then how do you do the prayers? No, that's come to us by tradition. It's been practiced by thousands of
How you
people
become a
over.
Muslim. More important than all that, how you become a Muslim? Where is the Shahada in the Quran?
I asked him that's exactly what I asked him. He said,
And he
no,
said,
but
what?
you see, Muhammad is in the Quran so much that it's obviously associated, so therefore it's logical. I'm like, it's not in the Quran. But he had excuses why extra Quranic sources were authoritative, but he's a Quran-only Muslim. I
MashaAllah.
mean, I just told him and a couple of other guys, it's people like yourself, which is why people hate Islam. It's Muslims like you that cause us to hate Islam.
I
It's as
like what
simple as that.
I like what my friend Yusuf, you have seen him before in last program. He was Jonas.
Okay, it looks like I'm alone here by myself.
The last two, I'm back. Well, one of the things which Joseph did not like about Muslims is their lying in their translation of the Quran, because obviously he's from Saudi, he speaks Arabic very well. He said, why do they lie when they translate the Quran? To make people believe in Islam. That's one of the things which causes him to leave Islam.
Yeah, it annoyed me. I mean, it's like, these guys didn't reply. I just told them, look, it's you that makes people hate Islam.
Yeah.
Because besides, I said, look, there's another guy in the next comment that has a totally opposite view to you. He's making up a different set of excuses. Why don't you guys get together and figure out which one of you is like telling the right story here?
You put the Muslim against the Muslims. Save yourself a headache. Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Yep. So there we go. So Allah informed Joseph of that. And then this is a part of that which my Lord has taught me. I've left the religion of people who do not believe in Allah and in the hereafter. They are infidels. So Joseph said he came from a religion of people who did not believe in Allah. But I thought the Jews believe in Allah. I thought Muslims believe in Allah. I thought Christians all believe in Allah. It's the same God.
Depend what stage you're in. If you're early days of Muslims in a foreign land, in a West, oh yes, we believe in everything the same. The deeper you get a relationship with him, the more you find out everything he said earlier was a lie, and he lied it on purpose. It was not like he did not know. He knows it, but he lied for Allah. He's not lying against you. He's lying for Allah to deceive you, to get you to believe in Islam. MashaAllah.
Yeah, so Joseph then contradicts himself in the following verse, in which he states his people are believers in one God, Allah. And he says, and I follow the religion of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Those are all good Muslims. Oh my God, Abraham's a Muslim. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, but somehow the people, maybe is not his ancestor, father, grandfather, great grandfather. Maybe it was his brothers, which is another problem. As I said, his brothers are all prophets. They're all messengers. The Aspat. If Muslims know what Aspat is, the tribes, the 12 sons.
Right. Yeah, it was not for us to partner Allah with anything. That is a favor from Allah on us and on the people, but most people do not give thanks.
Yeah. What give thanks have to do with anything? He should say most people do not believe. Not give thanks. Give thanks of what?
For the mercy of Allah to come into their lives and yeah.
It's a wrong ending, Muhammad. Muhammad, wrong ending. Can you change the ending of verse 38? That's a wrong one. Can you change it to something else? Okay, I'll fix it next time. Okay.
Late. It says, oh, my two companions of the prison are disunited lords better, or Allah the one the dominant. Oh boy. You do not serve other than him, except names you have named them, you and your fathers.
And now he's mocking the Egyptian and the worship of the gods of the Egyptian. MashaAllah.
Allah has not sent down with him any authority that the judgment but to Allah. He orders to serve no one but him. That is the right religion, and most people do not know. I feel like I'm reading my way through soup, honestly.
No, but most people do not know. That's a good ending for that verse. Don't you think so?
He should say, I just read this and I don't know what I read. I can tell you that.
That's the beauty of the Quran, man. What's up with you? Get out of it. Move on.
No, it grates me as well when they claim everybody, Mary's a Muslim, Jesus was a Muslim, Abraham's a Muslim. Like, okay, show us a first century mosque. Show us any Quran books. Show us anything Muslim from those days.
So let me use the answer. They were Muslim, meaning submitted to Allah. They believed in Allah. But that answer does not hold water. Why? Because Adam saw Muhammad names in the sky. Adam was a Muslim believer. When Isa came, he actually prayed. I'm sorry, when Muhammad came, he actually prayed with Isa and all these prophets, the Muslim prayers. They literally prayed all together towards Mecca. Allahu Akbar. And Adam and Moses and Abraham and Jesus and all of them. Allahu Akbar. And the Muslim prayer. Okay. So they were true Muslim imams, Muslim believers, not just submitters to Allah. Give me a break. Okay, go ahead.
Right, yeah. Then Joseph asked them whether it is better to serve one God or more than one God, and he told them to come and worship the one true Allah.
MashaAllah.
None of these verses are in the Bible, and Ibn Kathir added no information concerning the true story of Joseph. It is the style of Mo's writing because it has, as in many cases, neglected information that is important from the biblical story. And then he adds some illogical information which does not help the reader. Yeah. In verse 41, Joseph gives an interpretation which did not make sense unless the dreams had been told to him, as is written in the Genesis account. In other words, they told the dreams to Joseph, as seen in verse 36. The dreams could not be interpreted by verse 41, for the details of the story did not exist in the Quran. How can Joseph interpret the dreams unless they'd been told to him? So here's verse 1241 from the Quran. O my two companions of the prison, as for one of you, so he will give a drink of wine to his Lord.
Okay.
But as for the other, so he will be crucified, so the birds will eat from his head.
Okay, there's so many problems here. First of all, the verse itself said he saw in his dream squeezing wine, or what? Go back to the verse, brother. Go back to the verse. Oh, let me give it to you here. Never mind. Oh, mashallah. Here's the Quran, and we're in chapter 12. I saw in my dream. What he saw?
I saw myself carrying khubz, and I saw myself pressing wine.
Pressing wine. How can you press wine? You press grapes, not wine. Can you press wine? Can you press some water for me?
I told you I have a bag of dehydrated water here, but I don't know what to add. So I don't know. I mean, I can.
No, but imagine me. I saw myself pressing wine. That is a dream. I will tell him, sorry, you cannot press wine because it's already liquid. How can you press liquid? You can press grapes. To make wine. You don't press wine. And I'd say to him, with all respect, from now on, when you go to bed, make sure you cover your butt because you are going to have continuation of nonsense dreams, because that is very normal in the Middle East. I'm not kidding you. If somebody have a weird dream, people assume that he did not cover himself when he went to bed. He was naked, okay? His butt was naked. So that is the interpretation of the dream. There's no dream to interpret. The dream does not make any sense. You don't press wine. End of story. It's the dream is over. Let's move on to the next chapter. You know?
If it's boxed wine, you can step on it.
Step on what? On wine?
On the box.
Oh, on the box.
You know, $5, you buy a 5-liter box of wine, step on the box.
No. Now let's go back down to the part where he said that you will be crucified. There was not crucifixion. يعلق في الكتاب المقدس, the Arabic word means to be hanged, not crucifixion. In Joseph time, that's a good 1700 years before Christ. There was no crucifixion. So Muhammad knows crucifixion because Muhammad came 600 years after Christ. But in Joseph's days, I'm sorry, man. You can hang them, yeah. But you don't crucify them. Crucifixion is invention 300 years before Christ, not 1700 years before Christ, period. End of story. You see the problem here, Lloyd? It's internal interpretation built on a knowledge known in Ibn Kathir days. Or known.
You know what I find crazy? Muslims will say, like I was told a couple of days ago, I don't accept the hadiths because they were written a couple of 100 years after Muhammad. You're like, and the Quran is telling us what the Bible says, and it comes 600-700 years later. Like, hello? You don't accept the hadiths 200 years after, but But
Okay.
the Quran, 500
It
years,
is,
600 years later, that's all good, right?
it is my answer to these people. The only reason they hang on to the Quran because they have not discovered the errors of the Quran yet. If they attend our broadcast here every time we meet you and I, Lord, we're talking about 20, 30, 40 errors in 5 pages, 6 pages of my book, few verses of the Quran. I mean, how many errors do you need to figure out that even the Quran is not good? So now they're going to come, well, I don't believe in the Hadith and I don't believe in the Quran, but I still believe in Muhammad. What else do you have to believe in? Anything else?
Um, Allah.
I'm sorry. The miracle of Islam is the Quran. The Quran said you must believe in Allah and believe in Muhammad. You must obey Allah and you must obey Muhammad. I do not see anything Muhammad wrote or teach in the Quran. He taught what he taught in the Hadith. They found the Hadith is filled with nonsense and immoral teaching. Therefore, they believe in the Quran only. They will discover the Quran is filled with immoral teaching and nonsense errors. The Quran is known in my book to be the revelation of error. The revelation of
Sure.
error. That's what it is. So why expect the Quran? Because you don't know it yet. Well, I'm glad you're here. Now you have to reject the Quran too. And I mean, there's nothing else I can share with them.
I mean, so look, you've got pressed wine. I've got dehydrated water, so you never know. You know? And I mean, I've got, this stuff turns the water yellow, as you know. This is dehydrated. That Muhammad recommended this. This is I can drop this in the bottle and we can get some yellow water.
Listen, brother, you need to send me one of this package. I will pay you $50. Okay, how much money you want? I mean, I'm willing to sacrifice. So when I go speak in church, I'll tell them this is concentrated camel urine, and I'll put in water in the middle of the service. I shake and I say, "Look, it is camel urine, yellow camel urine." Maybe I can sell it and make lots of money.
There was a talk given at Wembley Stadium. Muslims hired out Wembley Stadium. 30,000 Muslims went there, and a guy gave a speech. And he said in the speech, this is actually really interesting when I was reading this on this Muslim website.
Yeah.
He said in the speech, "I wish I was Muhammad's urine, cool and pure."
Next time make sure
he
I
actually apparently said this.
You're trying to kill me?
In front of 30,000 people, and he talked about the purity of Muhammad's urine.
Yeah, do you know that his sweat smelled like musk?
Yeah, no, I've been through the Sirah. So hold on, let me see if I can actually find the.
You know when Muhammad spit, he spit in people's hands so they can take this spit and rub their face. MashaAllah, all blessing, man, all blessing.
Let me see if I can actually find the article.
Now, why you want to discuss me? I already have a good lunch. Why you want to make me sick, man? What is your problem?
Here we go. Here we go. Hold on.
Please, make
I think it's the right one.
Make it fast because I don't want to get sick. Sicker than I am sick already.
This is it. This article is written in defense of Al-Sayyid Muhammad Al-Yaqubi's statement, which he expressed during his talk on the National Mawlid gathering in London. He said this live, okay? This was at Monday, 2nd May 2005, Wembley Arena. That's at Wembley Arena. He says, "I wish I was his urine which passed out of him, pure and a cure." He actually says this. And then he says no, because Muhammad's urine, you see, everyone else's urine is impure and disgusting, and urine will send you to hell. But for Mo, that's, it will cure your tummy ache.
Your video's already gone out of the YouTube, man. You broke the line again. Sorry, kids. That video. Goodbye.
So basically, guys, the guy actually says this apparently. So he actually says that. So just so you know, the urine of Mo.
MashaAllah.
And I mean, that's turning yellow, right?
Disgusting. Oh no, that's camel urine. That's good. Yeah.
Told you it's dehydrated. So, okay, first crucifixion did not exist in Joseph's time. Britannica reports the first historical record of crucifixion was about 590 BC. Darius, first king of Persia, crucified 3,000 in Babylon. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This
But
was
it was
long after the
actually
time of Joseph.
modified. The crucifixion was modified and became more painful by the Roman around 300 BC.
Okay. So when Moses said, the birds will eat from his head, the Bible said the birds will eat his body because his head will be gone, as we read in Genesis 40. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head from you and then hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh.
Yeah.
Cutting the head off and hanging up the body is nothing like crucifixion.
No.
The point of crucifixion is the person will be alive and suffer for a long time, not only as punishment, but as a
But
warning
the
to be
whole
feared.
purpose, brother Lloyd, the whole purpose of crucifixion is make these criminals suffer until they die. That's why when you read the Quran, they did not kill him and they did not crucify him. Oh, come on, man. This is good stuff.
Someone's asking if it's Lucasade. I'm just showing them the bottle. It's
Yeah, but your camera is backwards, so we cannot read it.
good
You need to
grief.
change the position. Anyway, but seriously, listen.
Effer hydrate from Now Sports and
I could not find it here in the United States. You're lying
hydration.
to
I'll
me. I
send you
could
the
not
link.
find
Good grief.
Anyway,
My phone.
so here is the deal. Here is the deal. In the Quran, when Allah said they did not kill him nor crucify him, that was a dumb order. Why? Because if the person is dead, what is the purpose of crucifying? You crucify them to cause them to suffer until they die. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying here? Lloyd.
Yes, you don't chop the head off and then hang them up, because that kind of
What's the purpose of the
that just
crucifixion? Yeah. If there was one. But obviously, during Joseph, there was no crucifixion, period. Or we would have heard about it in the Egyptian history writings. And we have so much written about the Egyptian history. None of them said crucifixion. Okay, moveon.org.
yeah. So hold on, people
Here
are
it
asking,
is.
just so you know what it is.
Wait a minute. How
There it
can I
is.
order this online?
Yeah, from Now. Yeah, this is iHub. Their delivery is fantastic. It's in the US. They have
Why could I?
makes
I
it
could not
very
find it locally, but I never thought to go online and order it online, man. iHeart. Okay, can you
so
do me a
basically
favor?
it's stevia based. There's no artificial ingredients. It's stevia. So it's got stevia leaf extract. It's got no artificial ingredients. So yeah, well,
All right. So I need to get a link. I
okay.
need to get a link for that so I can buy it later. I hope. Do you
I'm
make
gonna
any
drop
money
this in the chat and I'll
advertising
send
for
you the
them
link
on your
later.
link? Hey, you need to contact them and tell them I'm advertising for your stuff. You need some money.
You know they can sponsor the channel. Oh, good grief! They'll go, yeah. With you and your stuff with Momo, we don't think so.
All right.
Okay, yeah, they appeared to crucify him. They didn't actually crucify him. You're right. Okay, so then in the Genesis account, we discover that this dream and detailed information, along with the interpretation of the 3 branches, which Joseph interpreted to mean 3 days, and revealed at the time in which Pharaoh would return the cupbearer to his previous job. As for the baker, although his dream was different, he had a dream that same night. The cupbearer had 3 branches, the baker had 3 baskets over his head. Right, when the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said to Joseph, I also was in a dream, and there were 3 white baskets on my head. In the uppermost basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, and the birds ate them out of the basket on my head. Joseph answered, this is the interpretation of it. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head from you and hang you on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh from you. That's really harsh, though.
Yeah.
So Joseph said to the chief of the bakers, notice that this is a mature man, not a young man, as stated by Muhammad, and the interpretation of such a dream was that he would be beheaded and the birds would eat his flesh. Also notice Pharaoh did not kill the baker by crucifixion, as Muhammad had stated in the Quran, but simply he would be beheaded and his body hung on a tree. To hang a corpse on a tree is not crucifixion. We just covered that. You'd have to be alive to be crucified. Muhammad ended this by stating that he asked the one whom Joseph thought would be saved to remember him to his Lord, but Satan caused him to forget. Right.
Was it Satan? Did the Bible say it was Satan?
It was a guy called Alzheimer's, or something like that.
Oh, that's Alzheimer's disease?
Something like so. And he said to the one whom he thought would be delivered, "Remember me to your Lord." So Satan caused him to forget the
Notice,
remembrance of
notice,
his
he
Lord.
thought. He did not know for sure. The one he thought he would be delivered. That's nonsense. Did he know or did he not? Did he know for sure that he will be delivered? Or maybe yes, maybe no. Allah knows, man. I'm giving you my best here. It's a good
I'm
shot.
just
Maybe 50-50.
I'm just reading it, but
Yeah, but I'm emphasizing for our dear Muslim, if somebody is listening, we need to understand Joseph thought or Joseph knew. What the difference?
who knows? He thought he would be saved. I mean, so
Yeah,
you are translating from the Arabic, right? The Arabic
sure.
expressions, and
Word for word.
it
Word for
doesn't
word.
make sense in the Arabic.
Oh,
So
it's a comedy. You read the Quran in Arabic, not just Joseph's stories. The entire Quran, it's a comedy.
yeah, so the phrases, the terms, the ideas just don't make sense in
Oh,
Arabic.
please, please, my foot. You can praise
Because
my foot.
Murad was saying the same thing. Saint Murad, it's like he says, it doesn't make sense. The word structures, the grammar, everything. It's
Everything is bad. It's very bad. If you think Muhammad was illiterate, I don't believe he was illiterate. But if you believe he's illiterate, yes, indeed. How do I know? Read the Quran. Or the person who wrote the Quran for Muhammad did not know too much Arabic. He maybe more Syriac than Arabic.
right. So then let's move to the next one. Then there's the third area. It is the term some years in the original language of the Quran. Muslim scholars state it was a period between 3 and 9 years. That is not correct, according to Genesis, which says, "Then it came to pass at the end of 2 full years. Pharaoh had a dream, and behold, he stood by the river." The Bible is clear, only 2 years. So, Pharaoh's dream and Joseph's interpretation. He's married to dementia.
Who is D? That's a nice lady, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, he's got Joe Biden disease.
Oh my world.
Man. So, verse 43 of the Quran describes the dream of Pharaoh. And the king said, "Surely I see 7 fat cows consumed by 7 lean cows, and 7 green heads of grain and others dried. O you the leaders, consult with me of my dream if you were interpreters of dreams." Ibn Kathir explained this dream was the reason Joseph left the prison with honor and respect. He stated the king of Egypt's name was Al-Rayyan.
Look at this. Orion?
He left
Orion?
being the No, he left being the emperor or the pharaoh, and he started Ryanair.
Yep. Yep. Al-Walid ibn
Ibn Sirwan, Ibn
Noah.
Arsha, Ibn Faran, Ibn Amran, Ibn Anlaq, Ibn Laos, Ibn Shem, Ibn Noah.
Man, they took the Pharaoh all the way to Noah. But he forgot to mention Ibn Masraim because the Egyptian start with Masraim. How can you get to Noah? We don't go to Masraim. Masraim is the father, not Shem, to the Egyptian. See, there's so many errors, man. You really have to, somebody get me out of my misery, get me out of here. That's how many errors there.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know why he left out the other names like Ibn Frankie,
Oh,
Ibn
well,
Nike,
he was going to
Ibn
mention it,
Cheech,
but he ran
Ibn
out of
Chong.
ink. He was planning, but he ran out of ink, so he stopped there. Yeah.
Because Ibn
And
Cheech
and
and
the funny
Chong,
thing is, all Muslims believe Ibn Kathir to be a scholar. A scholar of what? The word scholar in Arabic language means
this was the
alim.
first Irish pharaoh.
Brother, scholar means alim. Alim is the one who knows what he's talking about. When it comes to Ibn Kathir, he's the most dumber I ever met in my life. Error after error after error. He did not know jack about what he's talking about. Go ahead.
Right. So, how do Muslims consider this man a scholar? Where do they get these names? As an Egyptian, so this guy that I'm talking, there's a guy called, just look down there, just right on the bottom below me. This guy, Usama, he says, "It is funny for me as an Egyptian to read so many Arabic names as people of my ancestry. As I mentioned above, there were no such names in the heritage of my people." That's because your people's names were corrupted.
Oh, like the Bible is corrupted too.
There
Mix
used to be
now
names
you
like
mix
that.
and now we know we are now actually belong to Abraham. We belong to Shem. We don't belong to
The Egyptians were always Muslims.
No, not only Muslims. They belong to Abraham. They don't belong to Shem, not to Ham. We're not black anymore now. Now we
No, no,
became
no.
white.
But these were, and also you started off as Irish Muslims with the name
Irish
Ryan,
Muslims.
Mr. Ryan.
Irish.
There, you know.
Mashallah.
So this is, yeah, yeah. So there were when one studies Egyptian history, you'll never find Arabic names amongst them. Imagine studying the history of the United States of America and reading about the early fathers' names written with Arabic names. Yeah. For example, President George Washington was followed by a new president with the name of Muhammad. And after President Muhammad, President Ali, and then President Mustafa, and then President Shib. Yeah. I mean, there you
Must
go.
be
It's
true. Yeah.
must be. So you'd know by this that the documents are fraud. And I think that is, except of course we have Barack Hussein Obama.
I
That's
mentioned
not
him.
Muslim at all.
It's coming up
No.
next program. Next program. It's a stupid thing the American people did. It actually ruined America. I don't think the American people understand that America will never be the same, even if you got Trump for another 20 years. What Obama did, he brought the Muslims, he destroyed this country from within. He literally destroyed the world, not just America. America is gone because of the 8 years of Barack Hussein Obama. I don't think the American people realize it, and they will never figure it out. It's over. It's like somebody came and put termite in your house, and the termite ate your house slowly, and your
Oh,
house fall apart, and you
yeah.
figure no clue what happened. Go ahead.
No, you opened the door to the crazies. BLM came out of the door,
Yeah,
crazy immigration.
the destruction of America will be as a result of the work of Barack Hussein Obama. Just remember
No, I
that.
mean, he turned people against the police. It
Yeah.
was all.
He
I mean, I
divided this
saw.
country more than ever. America was very united up to Barack Hussein Obama coming to the White House, and that was it. And he did damage the foundation of this country for good. For good.
No, I used to travel to the US a lot, and I remember seeing the changes. I remember seeing. Yeah, it was very sad.
Yeah.
So yeah, the hieroglyphs are pure Arabic. That's true. Hieroglyphics are
My,
pure Arabic.
yeah.
So the last name Ibn Kathir gives for the genealogy of the king of Egypt was son of Shem,
No, no,
son
no.
of
Read the
Noah.
program before, brother. And I want to talk about Barack Hussein Obama one more time.
Okay.
The people of the United States would know. Go ahead. Keep
The
going. Read the
document
rest.
was a fraud. Even a 10-year-old child in America knows there are no presidents by these names. The names are obviously Arab Muslim men's names. These are not American or European names. There was no Muslim president in the history of the United States until Barack Hussein Obama. Before him, there's never been a Muslim president of the United States. I mean, his father was Muslim. His stepfather, I believe, was
Grandfather was
Muslim.
a Muslim. Yeah.
He's, and his family are Muslims. And I pray he will be the last Muslim president of the United States. So, yeah, one does wonder, right?
Do you know that Hakim, the guy's name Hakim, the congressman, who can be the Speaker of the House, he's a Muslim guy. He can be a president too.
Yeah, no, that's scary
If if
stuff.
if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, both of them died, you can have a Muslim president again in America by the name Hakim. You can.
And their
Everything is possible.
loyalty is to the Ummah first and foremost.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead. Notice the last name.
the last name Ibn Kathir gave was son of Shem, son of Noah. Anyone who reads the Bible knows that Egyptians are the descendants of Ham, not Shem. In Genesis 10, the sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Mizraim is the father of all Egyptians. The country of Egypt in the Arabic language is called Masar. Masar was named after Mizraim. As for the rest of the descendants of Ham, you can read about them in verses 7 to 20. As for the descendants of Shem, you can read about them in Genesis 10. The descendants of Japheth are listed. Such genealogies cannot be found in the writings of the Quran or Hadith, and when these genealogies are found in Muslim scholars' writings, they are simply copied from the Bible.
End of story.
Very interesting. In regard to Pharaoh's dream, found in his book, Ibn Kathir says, without any hesitation, he used the writings of the people of the book, Jews and Christians. He wrote in his intro that he had no need to use the Bible for any reason, but he would use it to shed light on some of the stories of the Quran, not from necessity, but as a compliment. I would say it's a necessity.
Brother, if he did not use the Bible, good luck to understand the Quran. You can't.
True, true. Wow. I mean, just the egregiously false nature of these stories. Just, I people have lost sight of the truth. You know, the truth is coupled with logic. Logic
Yeah,
is a critical element of truth, and people have lost sight of how to understand what are facts, what is the process of presenting evidence, what's how you determine what is true. It's crazy. All of that critical thinking is just gone.
yeah.
Insanity, but yeah, you know. So this was really a bold statement. Okay, Ibn Kathir routinely used the Bible to interpret the stories of the Quran. No Muslim, not Muhammad, not Jibreel or gibberish, not even Allah could explain the stories of the Quran without the Bible. I mean, the Quran assumes that you know the Bible.
Mhm.
As another example, in verse 43, the king saw 7 fat cows consume 7 lean cows. The question needs to be asked, where did this take place? The pyramids or the Valley of the Kings? In the backyard of the king's castle? Obviously, the truth is none of the above, for the answer comes from the Bible. In Genesis 4:1, Pharaoh had a dream as he stood by the river. Other questions to ask are, did Pharaoh have one dream or 2 separate dreams? Was Pharaoh's dream of the grain ears and the 7 cows 2 separate dreams or one? From the Quran, chapter 12, there were one dream, but the Bible account is different. In Genesis 4, in Pharaoh's dream, there were 7 fine-looking fat cows that rose up out of the river, then 7 other ugly gaunt cows on the bank of the river. The gaunt cows ate up the fat cows. Pharaoh woke up from his dream and went to sleep again with a second dream. He saw 7 good healthy heads of grain coming out of one stalk, but the east wind blew and Pharaoh saw 7 withered heads of grain, which ate up the healthy heads of grain. So there were 2 separate dreams with many details. So who are the people that Pharaoh asked to interpret his dreams? Well, since he was Irish, Al Ryan, he was the Wiccan, I think. Must have been like some kind of a druid or something.
Yeah.
So the Quran says that Pharaoh asked his leaders to interpret his dream. Other people translated this word to be notables, others chiefs and elders, others as nobles, others as dignitaries. Although English translators came up with these names, they did not give the real names in Arabic nor the words as written in Genesis. The Bible said that Pharaoh's magicians and the wise men of Egypt were troubled. In Genesis 4, now it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and he called for all the magicians of Egypt and all its wise men. And Pharaoh told them his dreams, but there was no one who could interpret them for Pharaoh. So why are you picking on this verse of the Quran, Usama?
I'm not picking on the Quran. This is just a simple criticism. See, Muslim cannot criticize the Quran. Muslim cannot criticize Muhammad. Muslim cannot criticize anything about the ideology of Islam. They take it for what it is without thinking. And if you got a guy like Ibn Kathir tells them ABC, it is ABC, end of story. Even if it was not accurate, even if it was the answer is XYZ, it doesn't matter. They are submitters. The reason they are Muslim because they submit. You surrender. You give up. Your thinking, your life, everything. It belongs to Allah and to Muhammad. MashaAllah.
Yeah, well, so to help all the Muslim and non-Muslim readers, yeah, basically it's a counterfeit copy of the Bible. It's a very cheap counterfeit. It's a knockoff.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully Muslims will return to the Bible and see it as not a book of corruption, but the excellent word of God with every truth which can be understood by reading it. So yeah, it makes
And
a
by
lot
the way,
more
when you read
sense.
the Bible, you do not need Lloyd, you do not need Usama, we do not need any Ibn Kathir or like you just read the Bible. I mean, the entire Genesis account, you do not need any interpretation by anybody.
I mean,
The whole
I've
book.
tried reading the Quran. You're like, what am I reading? It is just
And
disjointed.
you know what's amazing, Lloyd? You have not read the interpretation of the Quran by Muslim scholars. When you read, I remember one time I was doing a TV show in California 15 years ago, and we got to a verse in the Quran. We could not figure out what Allah is talking about. So here, me and my buddy, are opening the Arabic interpretation of Al-Tabari and Al-Qurtubi and Ibn Kathir, and we're reading, too much reading. I mean, lots of reading. And then halfway, I start laughing, and my body was laughing. So I looked at him and looked at me. I said, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "No, you tell me why you're laughing." I said, "I'm laughing because I could not remember what was the verse." And he said, "That is the same reason why I'm laughing." Imagine, you read a verse in the Quran, you could not figure out the verse is talking about. You go to scholars' interpretation, you keep reading. Now you cannot remember what was the verse. That's how stupid these scholars are.
Yeah.
They went
And I
in
mean,
circles, and I believe they do that on purpose. So Muslims do not bother to read any more interpretation. Just submit, surrender, take it for what it is. Don't argue with Allah. Go ahead.
and also the majority of Muslims don't speak Arabic, don't read Arabic. They maybe can recite Arabic from memory,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean they understand a word that they're saying.
I know this for a fact. In Indonesia, I met with so many Muslims there, man, memorizing the entire Quran. Imagine a guy memorize the entire Quran in the Arabic language, and he can recite it better than me. I make error in pronunciation some words. He did not. And he did not know jack about what he's saying. I mean,
Wow.
that is demonic. Imagine if you don't know Greek and you memorize the entire New Testament in Greek and you don't know Greek. I'm not saying you can read it in the Greek. You memorize it in the Greek. Perfect. And you don't know good morning in Greek.
Right.
That's demonic. That's not the power of Allah or the goodness of Allah, because God is not the God of confusion. Causes people to memorize pages and pages as they do not know what they're saying. You have to know what you're saying. Anyway, go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So now we get to the story where Joseph is brought into the situation.
Yeah.
So they want him to obviously interpret to the king, and people sent him. Is this really what happened? Right? So the account of the Bible is different to that of the Quran. In Genesis, we see that the people whom Pharaoh sent to get Joseph hurried to bring him before Pharaoh.
Did this skip a page, brother, somehow?
I just skipped the line here.
Yeah, okay, maybe. All right, we're good. Yeah.
So they said the Quran makes another erroneous statement that the people who remembered asked to be sent to Joseph, so he could bring the interpretation of the dream to the king. The one who remembered, that's the guy from before, the one who remembered.
Yeah.
So Joseph shaved, changed his clothes, and stood before Pharaoh.
And it's amazing. He reads the Quran. The guy who remembered the bread maker, he said, "Send me." He went to the. That's why I think we lost a page. He went to the prison. He met with Joseph. Joseph gave him the interpretation, but no, actually, Joseph will not give him the interpretation because he need to get the women who cut their heads. Are you sure he didn't skip a whole page?
No, it was right here, because we just did this.
Okay, yeah. Maybe it's coming up.
Oh, hold on. Maybe I did. You're right. Oh my gosh, what did I do?
I know that something is missing.
Oh, yes, sorry. No, I missed this paragraph. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So, according to Quran 12:44, my bad. They said, confused dream, and we do not know the interpretation of dreams. And the one who was delivered of them and remembered after a while said, I will inform you its interpretation, so send me. Joseph, O the truthful, consult with us of the 7 fat cows, which the 7 lean consumed, and of the 7 green heads of grain, and the others dried. Perhaps I may return to the people, perhaps they may know. Why does Allah write in such a roundabout, backwards, and upside down way? Why can't he just say it clearly? It's like he's trying to do Shakespeare, but it's really bad King James. It's really bad.
It is bad Arabic writers. He did not know Arabic. Have you talked to me 25 years ago, 30 years ago? You could not figure out what I'm trying to tell you. Why my English was very bad. That is exactly the guy who wrote the Quran in Arabic. He did not know good Arabic.
That's what Tim Murad says as well. It's not a native speaker that wrote it.
Oh,
that wrote the Quran.
He must be uneducated or somebody a foreigners. Okay, a foreigner does not.
Yeah, he said foreigners. He said no. It's written by foreigners who learned Arabic but are not native, and they clearly.
I bet my life on it.
Yeah, and they're not the best Arabic speakers. It says they're good, but they're not the best.
I mean, if you don't know the husband from the wife, man, Imagine, I tell you, I got Vicky standing next to me here, and I said, "This is my husband." That means I don't speak English. That's Allah in the
Yeah,
Quran. Adam and his husband. It's supposed to Adam and his wife. Zawjati, not zawjo. Zawjo mean his husband. Unless you believe Adam have a boyfriend by the name Steve, you know. Anyway, move on. There
yeah.
are
It's like,
plenty of
yeah,
evidence, Lloyd. There are plenty of evidence throughout the Quran that the person who wrote the Quran do not speak very good Arabic. I'm sorry. It cannot
yeah.
be.
You don't need to know Arabic. Just submit. So let's see. Back to Genesis. So Pharaoh said to Joseph directly, "I heard that you can interpret dreams." Joseph gave honor to God by stating that it is God who gives the interpretation, not Joseph. Pharaoh described his dream to Joseph in Genesis 41, and then the same dream again that we described earlier.
Mhm.
And he saw the thin ears devour the good ears, and Pharaoh asked his sorcerers to interpret his dream, but there was none who could do so. In Quran 12, it is written that the one who was saved was able to go and meet with Joseph, told the dream to Joseph. He asked Joseph to give him the interpretation so that he may return to the people so they may know the interpretation.
My people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the people, the people.
His name is Pharaoh,
As I,
not people, but that's
I'm amazed as I continue. This is Osama talking, right?
yeah.
To read the interpretation of Ibn Kathir when he made fun of the people of the book. He wrote that they said that the king brought Joseph to him, and the king told the dream to Joseph. Then Joseph interpreted the dream to the king directly. Ibn Kathir stated that this was false, and he emphasized that the true answer is what Allah said in his book, the Quran.
Sure. The Quran have to be true.
That's crazy. Note that what the foolish and animals here, Ibn Kathir meant Christians and Jews, the foolish and the animals.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's exactly what we are. We're stupid and we're animals. Yeah.
They wrote in the Arabic from the readers and the teachers. Pharaoh told the dream to Joseph, and the interpretation of the dream took place before Pharaoh, not by the cupbearer, as Muhammad erroneously stated in the Quran.
Oh, it's a cupbearer, by the way, not the bread maker. I apologize. I give the wrong one.
Yeah, the butler.
The butler.
So
Yeah.
Joseph interpreted his dream to Pharaoh by explaining that these two dreams were one dream. The 7 fat cows were the same as the 7 good years, and the years of plenty and then years of famine, represented by the skinny cows and the withered ears. And God had revealed this to Pharaoh to show him what he would do. Joseph asked Pharaoh to find a wise person and put him in charge. This person would save grain during the years of plenty in preparation for the years of famine, because the famine would be so severe. Ibn Kathir continued by saying that Joseph did not delay or require any deals, nor did he ask to come out of prison. He just answered the questions, interpreted the dream of the king, and then he said, "You will sow 7 years continually. So whatever you hasada,
That is harvest
reap,
or reap.
whatever you reap or harvest, so leave in its heads of grain except a little of what you eat. Then after that will come 7 hard years, and you will consume what you have stored for them except a little of what you will have stored." Okay. Joseph said they would eat only a little of what they had harvested. This is not true. In Genesis 41, we have a different story. Joseph asked Pharaoh to search for a wise man and put him in charge, so they could collect the produce during the plentiful years and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh. The grain would then be used during the famine years, so the land would not perish. The Bible states the amount of grain which he recommended to put aside was 1/5 of the harvest, not the majority of the harvest. In verse 49 of the Quran, Muhammad made another huge error, because Muhammad had never been in Egypt, did not understand the agriculture and meteorology of Egypt. Interesting point. I spoke earlier about the wine and the grape juice story.
Yeah.
So what I learned was that in the Middle East, there's a wine harvesting season, which happens like August, September, or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. And what happens is, if you leave the juice as grape juice, it'll go off and you can't drink it. It goes rotten. So you
Yeah.
have to make it into wine so it ferments so that you make wine. The wine you can keep for years. Grape
Sure.
juice just rots.
Yeah.
So there's no way it could be grape juice because especially the Hebrew events, like the religious ceremonies where they use wine and have used for centuries, thousands of years, They have wine, and there's no way they could store grape juice for that period.
Wine is very important part of the life of the Jewish people in their weddings, in their spiritual ceremonials, and it you cannot tell me it is grape juice. I understand that to be a fact, but they don't drink the stuff you're drinking right now. That disgusting camel urine.
I wasn't serious when I said camel urine. I was just kidding. They don't sell that here because we have laws that don't allow for that kind of thing around here. We're sensible, civilized people here in Europe. Thank you very much.
Did I tell you when I called the food industry here in America, tried to import camel urine from Saudi Arabia to America? Did I tell you that story?
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding you. It's an 800 number. I called and I said, my name is Usama, and I am from Egypt, and I'm trying to bring camel urine to sell to my Muslim families and friends here in America. And the lady thought I was crazy. And she said, "You're joking." I said, "No, ma'am." So I asked her to go online. I said, "Are you sitting in your computer?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Go online, search it out." So we went online, and she was almost shocked. She said, "I can't believe it." I said, "Can you read it?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Camel urine is a real drink. You guys in America here, as an infidel, drink wine, and so drink beer. But where I come from, we drink camel urine." And she said, "Well, but from what I'm reading here, it's more of a medicine than a food. So you need to call the medicine department." She gave me another 800 number, and I called the other 800 number, and I talked to that gentleman. And it took me almost half hour to convince him that what I'm talking about is real. He said, "Well, I see online what you're telling me is real, but you cannot bring camel urine to America and drink it to your Muslim family or friends." He said, "You have to prove it scientifically on rats, on people volunteer, and it go for years and years. You cannot just bring camel urine in a big containers to America and people drink it." And that's when I told him, I'm joking with you. I'm a Christian. I just want to teach you about some of the things which is in Islam. And I said, I am busy right now, but when I have free time, I'll be calling somebody else, and I'm going to file a lawsuit against you people if you want to hinder me from bringing camel urine to America. And if you allow me, we'll make a big deal about it. Either way, I'm going to win. You allow me, I'm going to win. You don't allow me, I'm going to win, because at least I will expose the American people to the reality of what Islam teaches about camel urine. It's a true story. I got eyewitness and ear witness to it. But
Wow.
that was like, man, almost 20 years ago. I never have time even to get back to call this department because
Yeah. No. Let's keep that stuff far away from us. It's bad enough that Britain is now an Islamic country with nuclear weapons.
let's see if you know anybody in England can start that big deal about bringing camel urine to England. You know,
It's probably there already.
they already have camel urine.
Well, I mean,
Hey, by the way, that guy told me, "Why not drink camel urine here in America?" I said, "No, it's what you eat is what you are." I said, "These camel are eating bad grass. It's a filthy land. When we get it from Saudi Arabia, the holy land of Mecca and Medina, it brings very good camel urine, not like American camels. They're different, you know?
scary stuff. So, back to verse 49 of the Quran. Muhammad makes another huge error. He's never been in Egypt. He doesn't
Yeah.
understand the agriculture and the meteorology. And it states, "Then will come after this a year in which people have rain, and in it they will press." Rain in Egypt, just like snow.
Yeah.
So it rarely rains in Egypt, and only for a few minutes. The rain in Egypt is not sufficient to grow plants. Egyptians depend on water from the Nile, not from the rain. It's like, man, it used to rain like 2 or 3 days a year when I was living in the Middle East. And then not very much usually, and then sometimes it would just storm and then you'd flood.
Yeah, we
It's
used to, as
crazy, and there's
kids,
no drainage. Sorry?
when it's raining in Egypt, we used to go outside the streets and play and dance for, 5 minutes or so, and that's it. We'll see you maybe a couple months or 3 months for another rain, if we have another rain. Yeah, very bad.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's disgusting.
yeah,
Yeah. So if Muhammad or those who had helped him by telling him the account of Joseph in the Bible had read it carefully, they would not have made such an error. Muhammad did not know the dream of Pharaoh with all its details. Muhammad thought it rained in Egypt. Once again, the Bible said that Pharaoh saw the cows coming out of the river. The Bible had a great role in Pharaoh's dream because from the river came the fat cows and from the river the skinny cows. As it is repeated in the second dream with the 7 full years of grain, and the blighted years of grain, Joseph said that both dreams were one dream about the water of the Nile and the harvest of the field. It is not about rain. Ibn Kathir's interpretation, referring to the word press, he stated that he meant the pressing of sugarcane, grapes, olive, sesame seeds, and other produce. In verse 50 in the Quran, the king asked for Joseph to come to him, and the king said, "Bring him to me." So when the messenger came to him, he said, "Return to your lord, ask him what the women meant who cut their hands. Surely my lord knows well their devices." This is so confusing.
I believe Muhammad is confused. He thought Pharaoh is a man whom Joseph used to be his own slave. He literally believed that he was bought by Joseph, by Pharaoh. I mean, it seemed to me from you tell me, Lloyd, does this say I'm not going to come until I'm going to prove my innocent to Pharaoh, which means what? Pharaoh is a man who used to own Joseph, or maybe I'm confused. Are you following me?
I probably stopped following a long time ago. I can't process this. It does not compute.
You mean all
I,
this reading in my book and you do not follow me? You just read like a bird?
I'm not sure how many birds read,
Oh, no,
but
no.
this is definitely
The Hubu, man. The Hubu can speak and write and read and everything. Remember? Solomon. Oh,
yeah.
actually, we did not cover Solomon yet. It's coming in the near future. By the time we get to Solomon, your brain will be
I'm like,
blown
just
up.
what is he talking about? What are these sentences talking about? What are they trying to tell me? Like,
Okay. In the beginning, for our new audience here, in the beginning of our story, after Joseph was taken to Al Aziz's house, the wife of Al Aziz tried to seduce Joseph. Yes, he fell in lust with her and she lust after him. And we know from the Quran that they were about to make love. And then he was running away from her because his father was biting his hand. Remember? Don't do that, Joseph. Don't do that, son. And he was running away, and she was running after him. And then she hauled on his clothes, and the clothes was tear from the back. That means if she was the one, she was trying to pull him towards her. That's what we talked about in our last broadcast. Now, Pharaoh, oh no, Al Aziz, the husband of that woman who tried to have sex with Joseph, bought him. I'm sorry, found out that his wife is just jealous or angry or whatever. That's why she accused him for trying to harm her. When in reality, he figured out she was lying and he was truthful. And he left them again together in the house. He did not ask him to leave. He did not get rid of him. He just, hey, it's your jealousy, women, because he didn't want to have sex with you, and he left. Well, she brought all the women in the city, remember, and they have this party, and everybody have a nice dish of food and a knife. And she dressed Joseph in his most beautiful clothes, perfume or cologne, whatever it is, and she brought him out because all the women of the city start talking about, oh, Al Aziz, oh, she's in love with her boy, oh, she want to have sex with him, oh, the rumor grew up in the whole community. Then she said, Joseph, honey, baby, come on out. When he came out and they saw him, they were like, oh my world, he's so beautiful, he's so handsome, he's so amazing. So they cut their hands off. And all of them want to have sex with him. So she said to them, unless he sleep with me, unless he have sex with me, I'm going to put him in prison. And that's how Joseph ended in prison, because he refused to have sex with her and the rest of the women of the city. Now, Joseph is been asked to leave the prison because Pharaoh he want to talk with him, and he said, "No, no, 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 no. I need to prove my innocent." Okay. Now read the verses one more time.
what's interesting? I was in the Middle East once. It was a bit of an odd story. I was working at a company, and I was teaching. I was asked to teach something on databases, Oracle 10 at the time, Oracle 10R G2 or something like that. Anyway, so I was teaching a course for a couple of days. And there was this attractive woman from Kuwait, but she was never let out of the house. I think even her brother came over as a chaperone. And she and I got along very well, attractive woman, and but obviously not allowed to do anything on her own. And I ended up somehow alone with her in the classroom. I mean, it's in the office, but I left the door open because, man, these things can lead to a lot of trouble.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she actually complained about me. She told the staff that I'd made a pass at her. because the thing is that she made a pass at me. I turned her down, and
Oh
she
my
was
Lord,
angry about it. And then she,
that's it's terrible. It's terrible. If somebody does the same to me, I apologize and I beg her, please don't harm me. I'm not gonna make any. I'm not gonna sin with you, but please don't harm me because they will
yeah,
harm
but
me.
I mean, it's like how, because if you get caught, I
Honestly,
mean, man, the penalties and the issues and the hassles, and you get warned about these things, it happens, you know. And some
it's
guys go along because they don't want to get into trouble because they'll get reported, and then it's because these people have influence, they have money, etc., they have connections, and it's
it's
yeah.
terrible. It's terrible. So now read verse 50 again. Now we know
Verse
what kept
50.
Joseph in prison because he was put there unjustly because he
Honestly.
refused to have sex with all these women. Go ahead.
So the king said, "Bring him to me." So when the messenger came to him, he said, "Return to your lord." So ask him what the women meant to cut their hands. Surely my lord knows well their devices. However,
See,
Joseph
he's
declined
talking
to.
about the Lord. He's talking about the Lord as Pharaoh because it is Pharaoh who sent to bring Joseph. And earlier he called his owner, my
Butler.
Lord. So that's what I believe is confused among Muhammad and his people, those who wrote the Quran. They think it is the Pharaoh who used to own Joseph, not one of his people work under him. Okay, go ahead.
This is all, yeah. Joseph declined to go to the king. He's like, "Yeah, kingy, I'm busy today. I'll come see you another time," right? For he
Yeah.
was imprisoned justly. Yeah, I mean, anyone can refuse the king anytime, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, who is this king? Who do you think that king is? I'm not leaving here. I need to be proven innocent before I get out of here. Yeah, the king
Kingy
can wait on
who?
it. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, should we go down to this section, to the next section, and then call it a day?
Oh yes, sir. Let's. But I love to see what the women of the city said. Yeah, but
Women of
mashallah.
the city. Joseph asked those who were sent to bring him out of the prison to return to the king and command the king to investigate his unjust imprisonment by asking the women who cut their hands about how he very strongly rejected them and they tried to seduce him. When they tried to seduce him, Joseph also wanted the king to inquire of them about how they had asked him to do what was not right. Ibn Kathir continued by stating that when the women were asked about their actions, to which they had confessed, they commended
Whoa!
Joseph.
What happened to the book? Good. Yeah. All right.
Sorry, they commended Joseph for doing only what was right. I was trying to make it a bit bigger so it zooms in a bit more. Ah, for the audience, because I mean, some people are watching on cell phones, so most people watch on cell
That's
phones,
hard. Yeah, that's hard.
oddly enough. So, yeah, when the wife of Al Aziz stated the truth had come, she confessed that she sought to seduce Joseph and that he was innocent. She said he was imprisoned unjustly and unfairly. In Quran 12, verse 51, he said, "What was your purpose when you sought to seduce Joseph?" And they said, "Allah forbid, we do not know any evil of him." The
No, no,
woman,
whoa. They know Allah. You mean the pharaohs, that woman, and all the women of the city were also Muslims? Allah
you
forbid.
who doesn't know Allah? Everybody knows Allah.
Yeah, but the Egyptian did not know even the Arabic word Allah.
I
Oh,
mean,
but
I'm
they
sure
spoke
this.
during Joseph days. They spoke Arabic. Yeah, the Coptic spoke Arabic. Yep, and during that time, the Arab spoke Coptic. It was backwards. They were confused about the language. Yeah, yeah. And now I
What you
remember.
said, what you said, they all. Yeah, maybe we should ask the Muslims to explain that.
Brother, all over the Quran, they swear by Allah. Even the idol worshiper in Muhammad days, they swear by Allah, as if they were also Muslims. MashaAllah.
Well, I mean, and Allah swears by the stars.
Amen. Yep.
So that's how it goes.
Allah swear by the dirt. Allah swear by everything. How can God in the Quran swear by thing less than who He is? In the Bible, it's very clear. He swear nothing but by Himself because there's no greater than Himself. But in the Quran, Allah swear by everything. I mean, if there's a garbage can in the corner, He swear by the garbage can. Go ahead. You can laugh, man. I'm telling the
All right.
truth.
So Ibn Kathir said that these words were from Joseph and that he said them in order for Al Aziz to know that Joseph had not betrayed him. That's why Joseph required
Wait
the
a minute. But
investigation.
Al Aziz already knows that he did not betray him, and he left him as if he's a pimp to his wife alone. Left him with his wife alone in the house. Imagine with me a guy in that important position. If it's Pharaoh or one of the people working for Pharaoh, He owned a slave, and he found that his wife wanted to cheat on him with a slave. What should you do? What is the logical thing to do? You kill your wife and you kill the slave. No, he left them together. Okay, move on. That's all. Yeah, in case Joseph changed his mind, the master knows that his wife wanted to cheat with him, and he's a nice looking guy, so why not? Go ahead, sleep with her. I mean, her
This
husband
is
doesn't
all,
care.
this is backwards, but I mean, let's look at verse 53. Okay, you say there's a problem in verse 53. And I do not declare myself innocent. Surely the self commands with the evil, except for those on whom my Lord has mercy. Surely my Lord is forgiving, merciful. I read these things and I'm like, what are they trying to say? I'm like,
He's speaking
what
here.
am I
The Lord here,
reading?
yeah, the Lord of
Sorry?
Joseph here is Allah, not his Lord, the master who owned him, not Al Aziz. See, the problem with the Quran is a verse Allah can say about the Lord to be the master, the guy who owned him, the one who bought him. Another verse, the Lord is Allah Himself. And if you do not know ahead of, if you do not know more knowledge than Muhammad and Jibril, you can be easily confused. But that's okay. I apologize, man. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
So Muslim scholars do not know who said this verse. Some say Joseph, others Al-Aziz's wife. That's crazy. The
Well, the
two
same
things
verse. Scholars disagree. It could be me, it could be my wife saying the same thing. It could be Pharaoh, it could be Moses saying the same thing in the Quran. Was it Pharaoh or Moses? Because in one chapter in the Quran, Moses said the same statement. In another chapter, Pharaoh said it. So who said it? Muhammad could not remember, or Allah could not remember. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's crazy that you don't know who said it. That is crazy. When they don't
Brother,
know and they say, yeah, the
that
Bible's
problem
corrupted.
is
That is
all over
crazy
the
stuff.
Quran. Lloyd, that problem is all over the Quran.
I mean,
Scholars disagree. Who said what?
I thought it's so clear.
Yeah, like mud.
Let's try 54. And the king said, bring him to me. I will take him for myself. So when he had spoken with him, he said, surely today you are with us in a prominent position, secure. How did we get there? You were in a prominent position.
He walked. He walked from the prison to the place where the king used to live in the big tent.
Did he give him a job suddenly?
Yeah, watch. Actually, he's going to ask for it himself. That is another contradiction. Yeah.
So when the king discovered, according to Ibn Kathir, the innocence and integrity of Joseph,
he met with the women who cut their hands. Imagine that. Pharaoh have nothing to do. You get all the ladies of the city here. Sit down there. Sit down, women. And then he started, oh, he is innocent. We tried to have sex with him, but he chose not because we're so ugly and he's so handsome. Okay, go ahead. And
so he gets a special position, a dignitary of the country, becomes a diplomat, an ambassador.
Yep. Coming up.
And he said, you are in a position of safety. So once again, the king required Joseph to come to him, which means the interpretation of the king's dream took place while Joseph was in prison.
Yes.
Great. So that is not in Genesis, of course. And there are huge gaps in the Quranic stories, such as Joseph being in prison, and then in verse 55, being in front of the king. Also, the characters in these verses change from verse to verse, going from someone unknown to the king, then Joseph, then Allah. There is no continuity, and the details change. Yeah, badly edited. And the Quran 12:55 states that Joseph was the one who was asked to be put in charge of the land, as he bragged about himself, saying he was a knowledgeable guardian. And he said, set me over the treasuries of the land. Surely I am a keeper, knowledgeable.
Joseph said that, man.
In his interpretation, Ibn Kathir quotes the Bible. It's found in Genesis 41. And Ibn Kathir said, this was what was written by the people of the book. Pharaoh honored Joseph and gave him authority over the land of Egypt and had him wear Pharaoh's ring and silk and even some gold around his neck. Yet Joseph ride in the second chariot, and they announced him before the people that he was Lord with all authority. Pharaoh said to Joseph that no one would be greater than Joseph except for Pharaoh. Ibn Kathir said the people of the book said Joseph was 30. Pharaoh married Joseph to a very important woman. The information is all in Genesis 41, but not in the Quran, of course. So you ask if when Muslims read the interpretation of Ibn Kathir, they credit him as a scholar with his knowledge of Joseph. Do Muslims credit Muhammad for Quran 12, the story of Joseph, with the knowledge he mentioned in the Quran, as if Muhammad was a prophet? The fact is, Muhammad copied Joseph from the Bible and missed much of the information. He added ridiculous and erroneous errors throughout the copying of the story by adding information from the Bible to the Quran. This does not make the Quran a book of prophecy, nor does it make the person who copied the information a prophet. This is called plagiarism. Yes, very bad plagiarism. This is really...
You have to be under the influence to do such plagiarism, man.
Yeah. Also, how did Ibn Kathir identify that these verses are not corrupted?
Yeah. Well, he chooses.
He
can choose as he feel. It doesn't matter.
But the Bible was corrupted, so how could he use these verses?
Well, because he likes that portion of it. Not the whole thing is corrupted to him. Some parts are corrupted and others are not. If he like it, then it's not corrupted. If he does not like it, then it is for sure corrupted.
That's like the hadiths.
Yeah, same idea.
Okay, last section. This is the last section. We finish here then.
Amen.
Still, if Moses, Muhammad, and Ibn Kathir were alive today, Moses could file lawsuits against Mo and Ibn Kathir because they plagiarized these writings, as they took many of these verses and added to, misconstrued, or elaborated on them. They took away verses from Moses' writings. Here we must mention the true account of how Joseph became prince of Egypt, as recorded in Genesis 41. Joseph, after telling Pharaoh about the 7 years of plenty, followed by famine, recommended that Pharaoh get someone wise to collect a fifth of the produce of the land.
Say me, Lord, me.
Yeah, so upon hearing the words of Joseph, Pharaoh appointed him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's very different. There's something self-aggrandizing. Is like saying, yeah, you should pick me. It's kind of like, yeah, someone's ego is in the writing there.
Yeah.
So because Joseph interpreted the dream to Pharaoh, because, people inspired by Allah have big brains. And they should run things.
That's true. Yeah.
So because Joseph interpreted the dream to Pharaoh, the wisdom of God was shown in his interpretation. Moreover, he gave advice in verses 33 to 36, which showed the answer to the problem to come. Wisdom is not only identifying the problem, but also having a solution for the problem. Saving a portion of the harvest of the plentiful years for the years of famine proved to Pharaoh and his servants that Joseph was the wise man whom they needed in the following years to save their country. خلاص.
انت تعرفتي كلمة جديدة النهارده. خلاص. Finished. Do you know anything?
So there we go, everyone. I know that if you feel depressed,
complain to yourself.
For those who are depressed after this story, I'm arranging a special Look, basically, I'm arranging a special therapy group for people who've listened to this story, who've read it, and feel the same way I do. We're going to meet on Friday at 7 p.m. in the bar. Right?
With a drink.
Yeah. So if you guys need to
fix the problem with the Quran, you're gonna start getting alcoholic. You become a drunk. What?
Yeah. So in other words, guys, we're gonna meet every Friday in the bar. So that's where we're gonna deal with our therapy for dealing with this book. So I'll see you guys there.
No, let me give you a better advice. How about just read the Bible?
Okay, we'll do that. We'll sit in the bar. We'll read the Bible.
You get the best knowledge with no errors, and you'll be thankful to the Lord that He gave us the Bible.
Thank you, Evans. I don't have to read this stupid book. Good God.
It is dumb for dumber. The Quran is not a miracle. I like what Yusuf, my friend, said. He said the miracle of that book is that people believe it. Can you imagine this coming from an ex-Muslim? The miracle of the Quran is that people believe it. Not because there's a miracle. There's nothing here. I mean, Joseph is an easy chapter 12. It is the best of the Quran, according to verse 3. And there's no doctrine in it. We're not talking about crucifixion or resurrection or the deity of Christ. It's just a history, a story. You read the Quran, chapter 12, compared to Genesis, chapter 36 to the end of Genesis, I promise you, if you read this the account and the story of Muhammad, the account of the Bible and the story of Muhammad, for sure you would say goodbye to Allah and Muhammad and Jibreel and the Quran, for sure. No doubt. No doubt. Trust me.
So guys, you got your mission. Make Muslims read chapter 12 of the Quran, chapter 36 of the Bible. Go out, get it done.
Amen.
Good.
Can't wait to see you next Tuesday. And maybe we're going to have another day
Oh,
next
I
week.
may have to. So there's maintenance being done on the building. There's a
Oh, no.
risk that the pipes may burst, apparently. So they have to replace the pipes. And so, yeah, so I have to clear the basement because there are pipes in the basement and they've got to do those. And then they've got to come inside and they've got to do those. So
When are you going to do that?
Tuesday
Monday?
evening. So Tuesday evening, I may need to be cleaning the basement. So
Well, if things change, let me know. But otherwise, I will be in Minnesota. So just call me, let me know, and we'll
I'll
go
let you
from there.
know. Yeah, because depends what the effort is involved. Because we've got to make sure they have room. Because we've got to move things
Actually,
out in case a pipe bursts or something, and
yeah,
we've got to get this done. So
if yeah,
unfortunately,
most likely I'll be in Wisconsin, not Minnesota. But let's talk on the phone, and we'll see what Lord's gonna do. Thanks, thanks, brother. Appreciate your patience, and I'm sorry for your headache and for your confusion. And please do not go to the bar on Friday. Just go to the Bible.
okay. So the support group is cancelled. Osama says you guys can't get Quran support. Um, so guys, I tried to arrange a support group for everybody. Okay, so I'll tell you what, I'm going to start a different support group. One for people who don't like their jobs. We're going to meet on Friday at the bar. So
I love you, brother. Appreciate you, man. And for our wonderful audience, thank you for joining us. And please like us. I mean, if you don't like us for me, like us for this man, this sharp
yeah.
looking, handsome looking guy, Lloyd. I mean, you saw us, whatever.
Well, no,
Like
thank
us
you
for Lloyd.
guys. Yeah, always good to spend time. I'll be back next week. We'll be doing some more interesting discussions. And yeah, thanks for all the ideas. Thanks for all the participation in the chat. Always nice to see all of you, and thank you for the support. And yes, Osama, can see you again, and we'll see you next week. All right, we'll
Lloyd's willing.
definitely be in touch. Take care, everyone.
Yes. Bye bye.
God bless. Bye.